The following program will make you want to grow things and experience new and wonderful dreams about your plants, garden, and garden design. Listener participation is always strongly advised. Good evening and welcome to Down the Garden Path with your hosts Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board, send us an email right now. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And now, right to your hosts of Down the Garden Path, Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing.
Well, welcome everybody back to another episode of Down the Garden Path. The spring is not quite in the air, but in our minds anyway. So I'd like to welcome everyone to Down the Garden Path, where we discuss down-to-earth tips and advice for your plants, gardens, and landscapes. As landscape designers and gardeners, Matthew and I think it is important and possible to have a great garden that is low maintenance, and then we also want to help it make it happen for you. I'm Joanne Shaw, landscape designer and owner of Down to Earth Landscape Design for the past 11 years. It is currently a design-only business here east of the GTA. And with me is my landscaper designer buddy, Matthew Dressing.
Hey, Joanne. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in this evening. I'm Matthew Dressing, horticulturist and landscape designer and owner of Natural Affinity Designs. Natural Affinities is a landscape design and garden maintenance firm servicing Toronto and the Eastern GTA. And Joanne and I enjoy doing Down the Garden Path each week, bringing you interesting, relevant, and helpful topics to help you achieve a great garden. And we learn right along with you from each other, from our research, and from the guests that join us here on the show. So we welcome your questions via social media and emails.
That's right. That's right. And so again, we want to thank everybody for joining us down the garden path. And I'm excited to have a guest. We have a guest tonight. Yes, and I don't know if our listeners have heard of HortusTV, but Liza Drozdov is the founder and CEO of HortusTV, and it is a premium streaming channel dedicated to gardening. Remember when there was like cool gardening shows on TV? Yeah. So HortusTV is available across Canada and the U.S., She's also a master gardener and the author of Design My Life, a novel set behind the scenes on a home makeover TV show. Prior to founding HortusTV, Liza was executive producer of Holmes Makes It Right, one of the highest rated shows on HGTV and DIY, and former vice president of the Holmes Group. Welcome to the show, Liza.
Thanks, Joanne.
I'm going to slip up. I'm sorry.
It's because you said it enough times. Don't say Liza.
I know.
And hi, Matthew.
Hi, Lisa.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm excited we have you back. I know you were one of my early guests, so now we get to introduce Matthew to HortusTV.
Well, yes, and everyone should know about HortusTV. It's awesome. It's a great service. And the more people that try it, the happier I'll be.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that you're in U.S. and Canada, which is great for our listeners who are also U.S. and Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, yes, we expanded into the U.S. last year.
Yes.
And it's been great. Lots and lots of, there's lots of frustrated gardeners who don't get gardening shows on TV anymore. There's such a scarcity of that now for several decades. So I've managed to track down and license a lot of excellent programs from around the world and have it on Hortus that people can watch when they want, how much they want, whenever they want. It's perfect. It's streaming.
Excellent. So my first question was, can you tell us how you came up with the idea? But I think you
Sure.
really saw the need, right? Or the demand?
I was frustrated. I was a frustrated gardener. I'm a passionate gardener, as you pointed out. I'm a master gardener, and I belong to 4 different hort societies, so call me crazy. But, I couldn't see any gardening shows. And, of course, I'd hear about them in the great garden magazines from the UK. And I'd be like, why can't we have those here? That doesn't seem fair. Or if we had them, it would just be so rare. You get 2 or 3 shows, and then they disappear for a year again. So I, saw there's something called Netflix, which everyone's heard of.
Yes.
How hard can it be? We should do so. So I decided to launch it. Of course, it turned out to be quite a lot harder than I thought.
Always, right?
It's like, how hard can it be? Well, very. The principle's there, and it's pretty straightforward, but it's getting people to know about it and to try it, and it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it enormously, tracking down the content and licensing it. But, it would be great if we had more subscribers and more people willing to try it, check it out, and stream.
Excellent. And so, like we said, the service is available across Canada and across the U.S.?
Yes, I have more subscribers now in the U.S. than in Canada. Of course, it's a bigger population. But
right.
There's a free trial for 7 days. You can watch as much as you want. It's completely unlimited. And I don't ask for a credit card up front, which a lot of the streaming services, they get your credit card information, and then if you forget to cancel, then of course they start billing you. I made a decision to not do that, just because it irritates me so much.
Yeah, for sure. We're with you. We're both clapping here in studio.
I think it's just rude. So all I get from anybody is an email address, and then if after the free trial you would like to subscribe, you can, and of course I bother you with several reminders. Hey, do you want to subscribe? But no, we don't take any. There's no obligation, and there's no contract, and there's no long-term commitment. Many people will subscribe and stream during the off season, but in July and August, or even June, when they're busy in the garden or they're up at the cottage, they pause their subscription and come back when it's better. So better time for them to watch. Okay.
And that was actually, one of my questions, because we find that with our radio show, right, is, the listeners that are in December and January, there's a little bit of interest there, but it's certainly a bit more in the spring for sure.
And then the starts to run in people and they want to garden.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So you do see a little bit of, seasonality to it.
Oh, definitely. It's funny for me. I would rather, when I can't garden, of course I can watch garden shows on TV, but it's I think gardeners were very tied to the seasons, and so you're right, it starts to get exciting, and people, start buying plants that they can't possibly put in their gardens, and they don't know what to do with them, and yes, more people start streaming and watching gardening shows as they start to get inspired, right? The days get longer, and they want to be in the garden, and they can't, so they watch a show.
Yes. Yeah. And so it's easy to sign up. So like you said, the free trial. And you were giving a bonus to our listeners as well. Did you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yes. For any of your listeners can use the promo code that we're providing. And the promo code is, what is it again? Garden Path 18.
That's right.
So Garden Path 18. And yes, so just go to HortusTV, www.HortusTV.com. Take your free trial, and if you do want to subscribe, make sure to enter that promo code in the little space where it's provided, asks you for it, and you'll have 25% discount for the lifetime of your subscription. It's not just for the first year. So the normal subscription fee is $6.99 plus applicable taxes if you're in Canada.
Okay.
There are no taxes on internet services in the States. But so 25% off of that, and it's billed monthly to your credit card.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee a month at Starbucks, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Unlimited value. You can watch as much as you can. I guess it's limited by your data plan.
Yes, for sure. And the other thing I think is a fabulous idea is that you can give this to someone as a gift.
Yes. Definitely, and a lot of people do that for Mother's Day or birthdays, and certainly at Christmas. It's a very popular item for that. And Mother's Day is coming up.
Yes,
So.
I have that in my notes. Mother's Day and Father's Day. I know there's a lot of dads that like
That's
that.
true.
You
Actually.
know,
It shouldn't be so. I guess not because I'm a woman. I think about myself, and I'm
yes,
a mom. But you're right. It's a perfect gift for a dad as well. Lots of dads and lots of men are great gardeners. Very,
that's right.
very talented gardeners.
Yeah, and a lot of couples do it together, and they miss those shows, right?
Yes, yes. It's very true. You know, I get a lot of customer service, people emailing me, sometimes with complaints that they can't figure out how to stream and whatnot. But that, for the most part, people are saying thank you. Thank you so much for starting this, because, you know, we've missed this show. Or they say, oh, my God, you've got, you know, Open Gardens, the show I used to watch when I lived in the UK. And it's really gratifying. You know, it's nice to know that people are excited, and then they can watch shows that they either remember fondly or they, you know, just love to look at.
Right. So can you give us a few titles?
Sure. Well, new titles that are just coming on, I'm just having them uploaded in the next week or so. There's a series that's called The Autistic Gardener, and it was quite a big hit in the UK last year. And it's a garden designer named Alan Gardner, who has Asperger's syndrome, and he believes that people with his gift would make talented horticulturalists and designers. And it's a unique take on garden design. He does some fantastic work, and he travels and sees gardens into the States as well. Got a show called My Dream Farm, which is Monty Don, who everybody loves, and he takes 4 families who want to go back to the land and start their own organic farms, and he coaches them. We have all classics like Garden Rescue with Charlie Dimmock and the Rich Brothers, who are the Skinny Jeans gardeners.
Okay.
Multiple Chelsea Garden Show winners. Of course, Gardener's World with Monty Don, Love Your Garden, The Edible Garden, Carol Klein shows. I mean, we have, in Canada, there's almost 1,000 episodes of various shows. There's fewer in the States just because of licensing and rights issues.
Okay.
But the States is catching up. We're going to have as many there very soon.
Excellent. Okay. And are you able to, so a lot of these are British ones that you're licensing. Are there U.S. shows that you're licensing?
Well, there's mostly British, as you said, but I have quite a few Canadian ones. There actually aren't very many American ones available. I've been searching, and I would very much like to license some, but they're just not, aren't that many, or they're older, and so they're not as appealing. You know, people like to see things in high def and have them beautiful. You know, for something older and in standard def, it's just not that... the feedback isn't very positive. But I have a line on some P. Allen Smith, who is, as you know, very popular, and he has many, many, many seasons of shows that we could get. Mark Cullen Gardening is something that people keep asking about because he is based in Canada, but it's obviously North American appeal, and it's a lot of very classic DIY and good practical advice for our climatic zones. Kathy Renwald is, of course, Canadian.
Oh, right,
so
yes.
Yeah. And there's other shows, too, like The Secret World of Gardens is Canadian. And, there's others coming, but I don't have them signed up yet, so I don't want to speak of them.
Oh, okay. Okay, you don't want to give it away.
Well, I don't want to promise what I can't deliver.
Right. So does that require quite a bit of negotiations for you in as far as getting the licensing?
Sometimes, but sometimes things work out beautifully. Yes, sometimes it's a matter of cost. A lot of the premium shows, as I would describe them, are fantastic, and I would love to have them. But they're just, they're sort of priced out of my reach. There's a beautiful show that just premiered in the UK last year, Judi Dench on trees. It's only a 1-hour special, but it's basically a documentary about trees, and she's the host. Lovely, amazing to look at, but it's maybe next year.
Yeah.
Maybe next year. But a lot of the older programming is more affordable because there's not really a market for it.
Right.
Broadcasters don't seem to want it. The real challenge with the older shows, some of them that I would love to have, I can't find them.
Ooh.
Literally, we can't track them down. I've gone from the broadcaster to the originating producer. Who has the tapes? Nobody knows where the master tapes are because you have to work from the master tapes, right? In order to create the digital files. And sadly, some of them are gone.
Wow. Or there's just a banker's box somewhere in the studio.
They're in a banker's box, or they have literally been taken to the dump. I did speak with one Canadian producer who had a series I was interested in. She said literally it was like 8 months ago, they just figured nobody would ever want this stuff, and it was costing them money to store it, so off to the dump it went. And that's really bad timing.
Wow.
But what an exciting service, because, I mean, until Joanne, thought about bringing back on the show, I hadn't heard of HortusTV. And as we're sitting here, I'm, like, looking at my phone, and Joanne's like, what are you doing? I can see it in her eyes. And I've got a couple friends listening, and I'm like, have you signed up yet? Oh, my gosh, this is great, because we were just watching. They introduced me to the series Ageless Gardens. And it was just like a 5-episode, 20-minute, 25-minute little thing, and it's like, oh, I wish you'd made more. But that one was really cool. So I think it's really, I'm excited because you're right. Like, you go so far back, and there were all these really great garden shows, but then you have all this stuff in the UK. So there's so much great inspiration and knowledge out there yet to be discovered by this untapped market, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And who doesn't like binge watching their TV?
Yeah, for sure.
And the people love it so much they binge right through, and then they want more and more and more. And of course, I can't quite keep up with the demand.
Yes. Hence Netflix, right? We can't get enough of Netflix. You
can't get enough. And it's a nice problem to have if I had so many people that watched everything. But it's a challenge. Well, and a lot of people I think are new gardeners in particular. They're, I guess, intimidated by the British gardens, and they assume wrongly that has nothing to do with me in Canada or in the States. But yes, perhaps their climate is more gentle than ours in Ontario or somebody in, Ohio. But we can still get inspiration, as Matthew pointed out, and we can get ideas for design and styles, and maybe just use hardier plants or use different selections. But it's still very inspirational, and it's very educational, and the basics of horticulture always apply. How to take a cutting, how to remove a plant, how to divide a plant.
Mend the soil,
around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And so just my friends and I on the text while we're texting, just for those who are tuning in, we're here with Liza of HortusTV. So if you don't know, this is basically the greatest thing. It's like Netflix for gardeners.
It is. That's what I call myself. People don't know necessarily what streaming is. I mean,
True.
I don't know why, but if you say Netflix for gardeners, they're like, oh, I get it.
Well, I think it's a demographic thing, right? So, yeah.
True.
Our sons know what streaming is, but our parents, not so much.
No, for sure. And yes, for people just tuning in, there's a special offer on to all the listeners of the show. It's a promo code. It offers you 25% discount for the life of your subscription. Just use the code GardenPath18 and you'll get 25% off.
And that was, did you say the life of your subscription?
Yes. Sometimes people give a discount that's good for 1 year.
Yeah.
This is good for forever. If you want to subscribe for 5 years, it'll be taken off as long as you keep your subscription active.
Well, thank you very much. And this is after they do you can do a free 7-day trials. Yeah.
Yep. And it's unlimited. And the free trial gives you access to the full site. Sometimes you only get access, and some services, not HortusTV, you only get sort of a taste. But no, you can see everything I've got and watch what you want.
And just for those who are saying, where is this service? Because Netflix, is Netflix. But so what's the website just for everybody?
It's www.hortustv.com, and it's available across Canada and the United States.
Right. And Hortus, just because we're saying it fairly quickly, is HortusTV.com.
Yeah, exactly so. HortusTV.com.
You're so good at that recapping, and he's like bubbling out of his seat. But I may have to take his phone away. But
sorry,
that's okay. Oh, that is great. Oh, well, and I think it must almost be like a bit of detective work in that whole, in the sense that you're an inspired gardener and you're wanting to create this great service, but then you've got this detective side and having to track down the new shows.
Well, it is. I mean, and it's I tracking down the shows that I remember from back in the day. That's one thing, because people die, people move, businesses close down, and you can't actually find a production company anymore because it's no longer. Some of these shows are 20 years old, and that's lifetime in the television industry. So that's an interesting challenge, trying to find somebody with some kind of corporate memory that, I remember that show. And there's, also another exciting thing. I'm wanting to get into original production.
So
there
we go.
It's time. Don't you think we need to produce shows in North America?
Yeah.
For gardeners in North America. Now, I know there's content on YouTube, and I understand, some of those little shows are really pretty good and they're well produced and interesting. But I'd like to see something with the quality of like Gardener's World for the North American gardener. So that's my big quest. But I don't know that I'll be getting there this year or maybe even next. But it's rather an epic journey. I'm still in the early stages here.
For sure. Well, it sounds like you've got the great background for it, for sure.
Well,
right?
I know a little bit about that, yeah.
So that is exciting. And I think that gives you a way, too, to also, with you knowing what shows you're carrying, you kind of know where the gaps are, too. Not only with geography, like you said, North America, but, what shows aren't being covered and where the needs aren't being met.
Right. And I'm getting lots of great feedback from my subscribers. They are very vocal, and they're willing to share what they like, what they don't like. Hosts they don't like. Wow, I won't share that. But some people have very strong opinions, and what they'd like to see more of. So yes, it's great. And because I'm the chief cook and bottle washer at the company, I have the one-to-one relationships with my customers. I know them. We have first name basis. It's a lot of fun. It's been a delightful journey so far, a real opportunity, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly.
Excellent.
So, everyone, if you want to ask Liza about this epic journey that she's on, if you have a HortusTV question, perhaps you're already a current subscriber to HortusTV, right now is the time to write in and ask Liza a question. It's in studio 101 at gmail.com. Again, in studio 101 at gmail.com. Ask us a question, say hi to Liza, and maybe share your favorite garden show, and maybe Liza can tell you if it's on the stream service, or maybe it's one she hasn't heard of, or that she'd like to get.
Well, yeah, I just had a delightful email the other day from a woman who had just heard of HortusTV for the first time, which to me in itself, sidebar here, is kind of bizarre, because I've been living with this for like 2.5 years, 3 years. So when someone says, I've never heard of you, I'm like, really? How is this possible?
Yeah.
But of course, it's really just, people are just starting to hear about it. So she was so happy to find it, because she used to watch Gardener's Journal with her mom every Saturday morning, and her mom's passed. So it's very nostalgic for her, and she's very emotional about it. And it was very moving. I thought, I hear that. The theme song was very touching. It was a very touching email.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Because gardening connects people. Gardening is, for me, one of the most important things. It's not just a social thing. It's just a very nurturing and emotional, personal thing. Yeah. And, if you know gardeners, you know that that's how we relate.
Right. And I think for our generation, or for certain generations, TV also united. Like, think about, I can grow up memories of watching MASH with my family, and and anytime those old shows come on, it's like even if it's not gardening shows, it's that nostalgia of is big. So I don't know that people get that as much from the current shows, but some of the, the shows you grow up with, I think, have a really big impact, don't you think?
I agree, and part of it, I think, as well, we're so broken up. Everyone's got their own phone or their own tablet or their iPad, and there's not like destination viewing that everybody gathers at the same time on Saturday night to watch whatever Ed Sullivan or whatever it used to be on. So yes, times have changed a lot, and I think that nostalgia maybe will never be repeated, because it's just the opportunity's not there. Yeah.
Because everybody can, 5 people in the house, they can all watch something different, right? Where we didn't grow up like that. You had one, maybe 2 TVs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you fought over who got who got dibs.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. Matthew, you mentioned, email questions. The two most pressing questions are, when are you getting more shows? People want more shows, and I respect that, and I understand that. And so the answer is more shows are coming. They'll be here in about 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
There's quite a process. First one has to hear about the show, track down where it is, who might own the show. Then I have to find out if the rights are available in North America, and then I have to do a negotiation with either the distributor or the producer or the originating broadcaster, and that goes on and on and on. And then I have to pay for it, which is a whole other thing. And then the tapes have to be shipped, or the digital files have to be shipped here, and then they have to be transcoded, and then they have to be edited at the same time, because often there's commercial breaks or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that has to be sent to my web team, and then it has to be uploaded and then made live. So it's really quite a process that sometimes any part of that chain can sort of break or stop or,
slow down, yeah.
Yeah, slow down. And it's like, oh, man, we're stuck here. And then people are still wanting new shows, which are great. And the other question is always, when are you going to be on Roku, or when are you going to be on Apple TV, or, similar.
Okay.
And which is absolutely, I'm working on having apps developed for HortusTV, because right now it's available on the web on Apple and Android and all platforms. So you can stream it to your tablet, to your phone, to your laptop, your computer. But getting it to your TV is the challenge that a lot of people have.
Okay.
Right now you can stream it via an HDMI.
Okay,
cable.
so you can cast it, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And you can cast it through Google Chromecast it if you
Right.
have that device. But a fully supported Roku channel or an Apple TV, which is great, and that's my goal for this year.
Okay.
Because that just makes life a lot easier for people, and they don't have to fiddle about. And not everyone's tech savvy, so they're sort of overwhelmed. They just want to push a button.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's coming.
Okay. Well, I'm good with. I get Google Chromecast, but I don't know the other one. Roku. I don't.
Roku. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that.
Well, Roku's, I guess. Well, apparently, I'm told it's the most popular streaming device, and it works exactly like the Chromecast device. You plug it into the back of your HDMI cable, and you just stream. If you have a Roku account.
Okay.
But Chromecast is more simple. But if you have Google Chrome and you have a Chromecast, you can just mirror.
Yeah.
But some people find that, I don't know why, a little daunting.
Really? Okay. Oh, well, you learn something new every day. So you've become a techie gardener now, haven't you?
Yeah, a techie gardener. Well, that's the last thing I would have thought I was. But I'm learning against my will, all this stuff.
Oh, my goodness, I bet. And so you talked about your relationship with your listeners or your subscribers. And I know you were doing a lot of local garden shows. And you were really kind of starting this as a grassroots thing, right? Getting out and meeting people.
Yes. And I did lots of shows across Ontario. I met Canada Blooms for a couple of years, and the Peterborough Garden Show, and Stratford, et cetera. And that was great. But this year I've backed off on that a bit because I just can't be everywhere.
Right.
And as I'm trying to, it's an international service, right?
Mm-hmm.
Canada and the U.S. And there's just not enough of me to go around. I couldn't possibly go to all the garden shows, and some of them are brilliant.
Yeah.
In BC or in Seattle. I just so I had to put my time and my other resources sort of to more effective use.
Okay.
It's just I can't stay in a show for 5 days all day every day.
Yeah.
As much as it's kind of fun,
Mm-hmm.
and they're very expensive.
Yeah.
And not in the way you'd think. But when you go to the Peterborough Garden Show, I spent a fortune buying plants and buying fertilizers. It's ridiculous.
Oh, that's funny. Because the Peterborough Garden Show is next weekend. I was going to ask you if you're going to that.
I am.
Oh, are you? Okay. Well,
I'm not for HortusTV. I'm going just as a citizen.
Oh, okay.
With a friend. We're doing a road trip for the day, and we're going to watch some speakers, and I'm going to buy some tomato food and probably go to Peter Keeping's clematis display.
Okay.
He always has interesting cultivars and hybrids that he brings in. Oh, yeah, I love it. And I will buy dahlia bulbs that I have no room for, but they look cool. And
Yeah.
more lilies, because the SW Lilies usually is there. They're a great lily supplier.
Excellent. Well, did you know that, Matthew, about the Peterborough Garden Show this weekend? So yeah.
I knew it was very soon.
Yes.
I didn't realize it was actually this
Yeah,
weekend.
so
Yes.
that is an exciting little show for anybody in the GTA. It's just east of the city, and it's quite worth it. And they've done a great job promoting it on social media. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I have. I have.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's a delightful show. Actually, I look forward to it. I've had a great time exhibiting there for a couple of years, and now I'm driving out just for the fun of it.
Excellent. And we do have somebody who's written in. And he says, hi, Matthew, Joanna, Matthew, love the show tonight. And he is a big fan of Liza's as well. And he is a subscriber. So thanks for the great advice. And that's from Shane. So that's exciting.
Shane.
Oh,
Thank
and
you
we've
so
got
much.
another one. Oh,
There you go. Chuck writes in. He says, hi, just tuned in. What is the site of your guest's show? Thank you very much.
Well, you need to go to www.HortusTV.com, and that's HortusTV.com.
excellent.
And remember the promo code.
That's right.
25% off.
That's right. So, Chuck, we have a promo code. You type in Garden Path 18, and that gets you a 25% discount after you go through the free 7-day trial, of course, on your subscription for lifetime. So, so there you go. So you tuned in at the right time, Chuck. Thank you, and welcome back. He's a repeat. Oh.
Here we go again. So Brad Sims writes in, Liza, where is Liza's show produced? Is it in Canada? So maybe Brad's asking, are you Canadian based? And then you're
Well, yes, I'm Canadian,
Right.
and I live in Oakville. I'm speaking to you from Oakville, west of Toronto. But it's not my show per se.
Right.
Hortus TV is a curated site, and there's dozens of different shows from all around the world, and I'm not in any of them.
That's
You
the
don't
best.
want TV on
Yeah.
that show. And it's funny, actually, years and years and years ago, way before I started Hortus TV, I worked as a segment producer on Kathy Renwald's Calling All Gardeners program. I don't know if you remember that. It was on HGTV way back in like 2001.
Okay.
And so my job then was to find guests to bring on the show. And it was a blast. I had such a great time. It was a wonderful experience. Anyway, as part of doing the show, because I guess they sensed I was a lunatic gardener and really passionate and really excited about gardening, they said, why don't we do a demo of you in the garden and see if we can pitch it for you as a host.
Ah.
And I had never done TV. I had no idea what TV, as a host. And it's a particular skill set,
Yes.
which I will tell you now I do not have. So anyway, so they brought the camera crew out to my garden, and it was a big deal, and I was petrified with nerves. And so I went about, did this little walk and talk through my garden, talking about this and that and the other. And then I was so focused on trying to do a good job and not make a fool of myself that I fell into a hole. Completely fell into a hole, which I had forgotten. I had dug out a massive tree, and the hole was there. But it was, shielded from, it was such a disaster.
Oh my gosh.
I still have the tape, actually. And I keep thinking, if I should put this on social media so people know, really how bad TV can be. So needless to say, there was no show. I did not get a job out of it. But I have a tape.
Oh my goodness. Well, you definitely found your skill set elsewhere.
Yes, well, maybe. Oh yeah, it's a special gift to be a good TV presenter, I think.
Yeah. I would think so too.
yes.
Oh my goodness. And so yeah, time is just flying. Oh my goodness. So HortusTV.com. So that's where everybody can find you as well. And you are on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram.
Yep. And it's Hortus TV everywhere you go. Just
Excellent.
HortusTV.com.
Excellent.
Or Hortus TV or at Hortus TV. I was fortunate enough to, I was able to get all those domains. So it's easy to find, and we try to post on Facebook and Instagram. Though, as you pointed out, Joanne, before we went live, lately my Instagram feed has been about foxes because there's nothing in the garden to look at anyway.
Right.
But I have these urban foxes who have made my backyard sort of part of their daily route, looking for things to eat, and they're gorgeous, and I absolutely love them. So I wait for them, and I take pictures of them, and I post them. And people have pointed out to me that, you might want to get some flowers and plants in there because it's supposed to be a garden site. Yes.
Yeah.
Point taken.
Yes.
Point taken.
But it is a little, I don't know if everybody realized how chilly it still is out there. So yes.
Well, it's true. I have, in my garden right now, which I'm looking at as I speak to you, I have a few crocuses. Snowdrops are done. A few crocuses have, popped up. And maybe some scillas coming up.
Okay.
And a couple of hellebores are creeping up. They're maybe 3 inches tall, still bent over, but that's it. Pickens are very slim right now for me. I've got very little.
So, sorry, go ahead, Liza.
No.
Okay.
I was just going to say we have another listener. Brian is writing in and asks what the name of your book is and where it is available.
My book is called Design My Life, and it's available on Amazon.
Okay.
And you can get it also through Kobo and Kindle, on Kobo or Kindle, Amazon.com. It's not about gardening.
No.
There is, one of the characters is a frustrated garden designer, yes.
Oh, okay.
But it's a behind-the-scenes sort of a tell-all about a television makeover series. Something like Trading Spaces.
Oh, okay.
Imagine that.
Yes.
And I'm not going to name names, but
right.
you can see if it reminds you of anybody.
Yes.
Because a lot of the stories are taken from real life.
Oh, great. Well, I can't wait to read it, actually. That has been on my list, so I apologize for not having done so yet.
Oh, that's okay.
And frustrated garden designer, I'm sure I can relate.
Well, yes, you probably can, Joanne.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's fun. I mean, it's a tell-all, and I'm not going to name names, but you can probably see if you can recognize any characters.
For sure.
Because, I did work for many years in lifestyle television production for shows that were on HGTV, and if those stories didn't actually happen to me, they happened on other shows that, through the grapevine we all heard about.
Right.
So, yes, a lot of it is taken from real life.
Excellent.
And a lot of it's made up, and I'm not going to tell you which is which.
That's right. So it was fun, though? You enjoyed doing it?
Writing the book?
Writing the book.
Oh, absolutely. I'm writing
good.
another one now.
Oh,
yes.
Excellent.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I've always wanted to be a writer ever since I was a little kid. So, now that I have no time whatsoever available, I'm writing.
Yeah. That's always the way. That's always the way, for
Right.
sure. For sure. So I wanted to go back to the designing part for a second. So you were an avid gardener. You were a master gardener. Mm-hmm. And Matthew and I are both landscape designers. And we always like to try and tie in some design elements to our show. Okay. And so I just wondered if you have a design tip for our listeners. I'm putting you on the spot.
A design tip?
A design tip?
One design tip that I learned very late in the evolution of my garden is winter interest. You must have winter interest, and you must have structure provided by evergreens, period.
Thank you. That's a great
because
one.
if you don't, it's a wasteland. Your garden just looks like gray, brown, blah for most of the year. If you're in zone 5, 6 or colder, right?
Right.
7, even 7 isn't great. But, I just last year in the spring, I was in England in May, early May, and it was cold. So everything was late starting. But I went to Dixter, and I went to Beth Chatto Gardens, and I went to Sissinghurst. And there really wasn't much blooming to speak of. Mm-hmm. But because those gardens are so beautifully structured with evergreens and paths and hardscape, there was something to look at. And they were symmetrical, they had strong form, but it was really anchored by the evergreens.
Wow.
So, design tip, use evergreens a lot.
Excellent. Well, that's great. That is a perfect design tip. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That is wonderful. So, thank you for being patient because I put you on the spot with that one.
Oh, that's okay. I'm full of opinions. Don't you worry.
And I know we're joining, I think you're going to Texas as well for the designer or garden blogger fling.
I am. I'm going to Austin, Texas, and you'll be there. It's exciting.
Yes.
A big crowd, too.
Yes, I know, and it's just a few weeks away.
Yes, and I've never been to... that's not true. I went to San Antonio years ago,
Okay.
but I've never been looking at gardens in
Right.
Texas. I'm not quite sure what to expect. My mind, I imagine Texas is sort of a desert with tumbleweeds
Right.
and horses. So I don't quite know what gardens they're going to have. I'm sure they must have... It's not all drought-tolerant, deserty stuff. There must be, especially by the coast, there's
Right.
lots of humidity and lots of moisture. So it's such a huge state. There's going to be some diversity, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it's going to help us really focus on the design though, because this is going to be my first fling where I can't grow those plants, right? So we're not going to be able to grow those plants, but we need to kind of take away and really look at the design structures.
Point.
And remember last year, at the end of last year's fling, they gave us like the sneak peek, and I think that's what kind of convinced me, because they had done a slideshow. You know, at the end, as one wraps up, they kind of do a slideshow for the next year and kind of give you some tips. And there were some really cool gardens, and yeah, it was such a variety, and it wasn't what you and I would normally think of, or what your average person would think of for Texas. You know, the drought tolerant and cacti and. You know, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Succulents and stones.
That's right. That's right.
Which is fine. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not dissing it. It's just certainly alien to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I know you're a generous sponsor of the fling, helping all the sponsors are wonderful and making it happen. So I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, thank you, and yes, I am as well. So we'll have a glass of wine and have a visit.
That's right. We will, for sure, for sure. Oh, my goodness. Well, thank you so much. We do want to recap quickly for Matthew's so good at that, for our listeners. So, Matthew, go take it away.
So, if you're just at the end of the show, we're here with Liza of HortusTV. That's HortusTV.com. It's basically Netflix for gardeners. We are going to close out the show. We're in our last 10 minutes or so. So if you did have a question, you're listening with on the edge of your chair like I am, don't forget instudio101@gmail.com. You can reach us here.
Promo code.
Yeah, I was going to say. So, and if you haven't subscribed yet, because I'm itching to get home and do it myself, don't forget to use the promo code GardenPath18. And this is going to get you 25% off of your subscription for as long as you have the subscription. So basically for life. And then just to recap, you said the subscription, was $6.99 a month?
Yes, $6.99 a month,
right.
Plus applicable taxes if you are in Canada.
Right,
Which,
right. That's still so reasonable.
That's amazing. And then less 25%. I mean,
yeah.
It's a deal.
Yeah, it's definitely a deal. We're both going home, and so that is great. And thank you for doing that too. That's
you're
great.
Very welcome.
It's very generous.
I want more people to subscribe and check it out and spread the love, because gardening is love.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And this recording is saved, of course, and is also turned into a podcast. So we'll definitely keep it alive and keep promoting it, so that will hopefully reach even more people. I know not everybody can tune in live, and some people, stream it just with the TV, right? Stream it when it's more convenient for them onto their phones or their computers at home. So that is great.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you for your support, and that's great.
Good. And so we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll see you in Texas.
That's right. I'll see you in Texas.
Okay. Well, thank you, Joanne, and thank you, Matthew.
Well, thank you, Liza. Thanks for coming on and sharing everything about HortusTV and all your design wisdom.
Excellent. All right. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Take care. Thanks.
Okay. Bye. Oh.
There we are.
Oh, we're back. We're back.
We're back.
Wow. So you're excited?
I'm excited. I mean, I miss my gardening TV shows, and everything's gone so Netflix or streamed or downloaded that I don't even actually have cable anymore.
Oh, really?
We totally Netflix it, or we share movies, or we download something, and that's
so that price is cheaper than cable for sure.
Exactly. So I can't wait to go and explore all those amazing shows, and especially things from like the UK and Europe and everything.
Right.
And like Liza said, we're usually so intimidated by these big, beautiful English gardens and these palaces. But, the design principles and the elements and the plants really are there that we do actually share quite a bit of them. So there's lots of great. I can't wait. I hope everyone else who's listening tonight is just as excited as I am. And I like, too, that you said, Down the Garden Path becomes a podcast.
Right.
So if you know anybody who maybe missed our interview and talk with Liza, and we've got that special promo code, Garden Path 18, don't forget to share our podcast and where you can go and get our podcast and all the amazing other shows that we've done, including tonight with Liza.
That's right. And that's on downtoearth.ca. My website, and it'll be there in not like immediately, but it'll be there in a few days. But if you do want to go on, you can go on right now and subscribe to the show through Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening, what you use to listen to podcasts. And if you subscribe, then you are automatically notified when it's up. So that's the best way to do it. And of course, we'd love some people to review our shows and comment on our podcast as well, which also helps us. Anybody who listens to podcasts knows everybody's always, beating that drum for looking for reviews, but it really does help that more and more people know about the show.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have another question.
Oh.
We saw it before Gary did. We missed you, Gary.
Catherine writes in, "Hi Matthew. I think this is Catherine that I know. Can't wait to binge watch all the great garden shows." She's very excited. We were texting earlier in the show. Thank you, Catherine, for writing in. And hello. For this, what a great service.
All right. Well, when we wrap up, so we've talked all about that. We have our normal segment that we do sometimes at the beginning of the show, but I thought we'd kind of do. We heard what was happening in Liza's garden.
Yeah.
And unfortunately not too much is happening in my garden either. Oh my goodness, my hellebores are still blooming. So that's good. So they've held on for it's almost been a month now.
That's nice.
Yeah. So the cooler temperatures have kind of stayed consistent. And so that is good. So so everything is pretty quiet still. Because we've had such cool temperatures. So, how about you? How about the garden center? What's happening at the garden center?
Yeah, and just as you mentioned, the hellebores, they're out in the garden centers now.
Okay.
And the main difference is, they're brought on to be colder hardy, and they're naturally like that. But they haven't had their winters like you have. So we're finding a lot of people are putting them out right now. And they're collapsing because it is that cold.
Okay.
But yours have adapted, right?
They've been in the ground, yeah.
Yeah, they've had their winter and they're doing their thing. So just be, in the garden center, there's lots of beautiful, cool season plants. There's ranunculus, primulas, snapdragons, alyssums, hellebores, like we just said, pansies. But, they do really like that 4 degrees.
Right.
Or more, and try not to get too freezing at night. So that's mainly what's happening at the garden center. A lot of fantastic trees and shrubs are arriving. Lots of perennials have started to trickle in.
Okay, they're starting to trickle in.
Yep, and a lot of cool season plants. A lot of container gardening at the moment. So there's a lot of ways to add interest to your garden and add some color, but without completely, relying on plants.
Yeah.
So kind of like Liza's tip, right? That evergreens.
Yes.
Using that structure, that form, those textures to enhance everything. So,
okay.
Yeah. And then much like you, my garden, and mine's a balcony garden, everything's still frozen.
Yeah.
So and I don't have hellebores. I mainly do all the veggies and and things like that. So I've got nothing at the moment going on right now. So.
Yeah, it's a little slow, isn't it?
It is.
But I know once it starts, that's the thing is we never know when it's going to start.
Yes.
And it goes from 0 to 100 for both of us.
In
right?
like a second.
Yes. Yeah. So designs have definitely started. I have done some, some good size ones already this season. I've got a few others on the go. So it's definitely the time to, don't wait.
No.
Right? It's now time to contact a designer.
Right.
And understanding, and this is something, conversation I have almost every day with people, is that, and people think, it's early in the season, it's March, it's beginning of April. if I call you now, then, you can start, the contractor, or you can start my garden in May, because, I've given you 2 months notice or whatever. But really, the gardens that get put in May and June, and the landscapes with the hardscaping and the walkways and that type of thing, anybody gets in May and June, really, they booked with a contractor in November, right?
Yeah.
October, November.
Yeah.
And there really is a lead time for that. So anybody looking now, you're probably looking at midsummer, end of June, beginning of July. And then the longer you leave it, the longer, because I know some contractors that are booking August already. So, so that's something to keep in mind, that there isn't, that's a good sign. The industry's doing well, but there is that lead time, right?
That's it. Yeah, you're almost that full season behind, and then the longer you leave it, the more seasons you become behind.
That's right.
Exactly.
And because we're at the mercy of the weather, so the contractors don't know, and I think that's even contributing to the demand in the spring, is because the last year's season the rainy start really pushed everything back.
Right.
And so there were some contractors who couldn't get their last couple of jobs in, that they got bumped into the spring.
Yeah.
So there definitely is a chain reaction happening. And planning, my motto of great landscapes start with a plan, and planning ahead. And starting with the plan also helps you turn around the quote faster, where the contractor can probably even fit you in, because they have all that information for them. But if you're just starting and going right to the contractor and having them kind of, lay some hoses down or do some spray painting and have them try to read your mind and figure out what that you want, it's sometimes it really is worth and I know I'm biased, but the investment of starting with a plan, as you would with a kitchen designer, as you would with a bathroom designer, starting with us, and it will make the process so smooth all the way through. I hear from all my clients, and like, oh, I wish I'd started with you, or I wish I'd done this, or I've done, it was so good the last time that now that I'm in the new house, I definitely want to work with you and plan out. So lots of great feedback there.
Yeah, and just to echo exactly what you said, I mean, I've heard the same thing to me, and I've even heard it in the garden centers. I mean, I wish I would have started with this a long time ago, right? I mean, 1 hour of planning saves like 4 hours worth of work, right?
Right.
So, do it now.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, it even goes to what Liza said for her design tip was evergreens. So there's so many, as I'm sure we both belong to lots of gardening groups online and stuff like that. And there's always somebody that posts a picture of their garden, empty garden, and says, what should I put here? And, and then so everybody's got an opinion, oh, daylilies. This was just one today. Oh, daylilies. Oh, petunias. Oh, this. But it's like everybody. So this poor person, like I'm thinking, you're just throwing that out, and everybody's giving you all these plants, but there's no plan. There's no seasonality to it. There's no winter interest. There's no structure to it to have it. How does it look in the winter? So I don't know. I guess I'm just of that mind. And again, I guess it's because I'm biased, but because that's what I do for a living, and I just know how much I've helped people. So I think that's something to really consider. Whether it's a hand drawing or a computer. If you need a lot of hardscaping, then it's a computer drawing. But it can just be some simple garden consultations.
Well,
right?
and I was just gonna say, even just something as simple as a garden consultation, right? I mean, have a designer come out. You wouldn't go to you go to any other profession or trade, right?
Yeah.
You want an expert. Well, there's experts for your outdoor living spaces, for your landscape. These experts, like Joanne and myself, we like to think on your plants and what they need and how to best accomplish that. So, yeah, definitely. You'll really find that it's worth your time.
Yeah. So there's our little plug about landscape design.
Hire a designer.
That's right. That's right. So, and we've got some great shows coming up. You can find us, of course, on social media, downtoearth.ca. The number 2 is for the Down to Earth. And all my connections there for Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, they're all there. Matthew.
Yeah, and you can find me at naturalaffinitydesigns.ca, and like Joanne, you can find links to Twitter and Instagram, etc., all there. And, if you have a question about your landscape design, we do have our design segment we like to close off the show with. Send us in your design or your design dilemma. And you can send us pictures at instudio101@gmail.com or either of our respective emails through the website. And let's discuss it. Let's, pick our brains.
That's right. That's right.
Free.
It'd be cool to see what you say versus what I say. It'd be fun little he says, she says kind of thing. So for sure. And we've got some great shows coming up. So next week, I'm really looking forward. We've been trying a while to get Shane on the show.
Yes.
So anyone east of the GTA is probably familiar with Durham College and their whole horticultural
their diploma program.
Yeah, their diploma program and their whole, process, and the Bistro 67, which is a restaurant. So they've it's just been wonderful. They've tied in training of chefs and cooks and servers and all that, restaurant management. And then they're growing the food on the same property, and it's great. It's a great thing. And so I'm looking forward to listening to all about that horticultural program here east of the GTA in Durham region. So Shane Jones is joining us next week.
Yeah, that should be a really good show.
Excellent. And my good friend, Kaylee Nadeau with KSN Professional Rendering and Design, is a kitchen and bathroom designer. And so again, Matthew and I want to talk more about design and you think, well, why would we talk about kitchen and bathrooms? But really, it's just we want to illustrate to everybody just the importance of design overall and how you can, if the same principles can be used in those small household areas right out to the landscape and right out to your yard. So I'm looking forward to chatting with Kaylee just about her experience and her advice from the design standpoint, right? And just see how transferable it is.
Yeah, exactly. Their take on principles and elements and different designs and like you said, how they cross into each other and really relate.
Yeah.
That will be exciting.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people get it when they think of getting a designer or a professional to help them inside, but outside seems a bit more daunting.
Yes.
So I just want people to just be educated, and I hope you enjoy the show. I think it'll be a fun one. She's a great girl, so it's going to be good.
Nice.
And then April 30th, it's just you and me, and it's exciting. Hopefully spring will have started by then, but we'll do our regularly scheduled May in the Garden episode.
That's
and right. So that'll be good.
Yeah, that's always a good one. Everything to do. Well, I think that brings us to the end of the hour.
That's right.
So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks to Brad, Shane, Chuck, and Brian for writing in the questions. Thank you again to all of our listeners.
Kat.
And Catherine. Sorry, I haven't forgotten you. You're up on the thing still. I haven't written you down. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to Down the Garden Path. I'm Matthew Dressing here with
Joanne Shaw.
And you are listening to
Reality Radio 101. Thank you for joining us down the garden path.
You have been listening to Down the Garden Path with your hosts Joanne Shaw and Matthew Dressing right here on Reality Radio 101.